Maralee Burnett. I'm your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of October 13th, which for some sees a holiday. It's also the week between that powerful full moon in Aries and the upcoming new moon in Libra. So it's what we call a transition week, with lots of activity and a lot of it focused on Venus, ruler of the sign of Libra, which will also be the ruler, of course, of that new moon in Libra that comes up next week, which of course we'll be talking about. And to make sure that you do not miss anything, you want to be sure and click on that subscribe button now. That way you get notification every time I post new content, which is typically every weekend. And if you really want to stay in tune with me, check out my posts that I do daily, which are for the tarot cards. So I take the tarot card message, sprinkle in a little astrology for the day, and then you're fully prepared for how to manage the energy in the day ahead. And if you'd like access to my written content, go out, subscribe to my website. And that way you get the October monthly horoscope emailed to you. In that monthly horoscope, you also have, of course, that full moon in Aries and that new moon in Libra article broken down with some suggestions by sign of what you might be experiencing during any lunar event. And I've already got November and December done as well, so you can really get prepared for the year ahead. So with that, let's just get ready for the week ahead by starting to look at, of course, our Astro Gold software here on Monday, October 13th. Now, on Monday, Venus will transition from the sign of Virgo into the sign of Libra, which she'll be really happy about energetically. Venus is strong in Libra because it is one of her home signs, like Taurus, and that Virgo energy is a little too controlling for Venus and her taste. So now for the next 3 weeks, wherever you have Venus transiting in your chart, that house is getting a lot more energy that is helpful. Focused in on relationships, because of course Libra rules the 7th house. This is marriage, this is commitments, this is business relationships and partnerships. And there's something involving relationships that is very important that we need to focus in on Monday. And that's because Venus will be creating this kite formation once again. Now, we've been seeing this kite, this opportunity, this tension from several planets before her. So she's the last one to really wrap this up, besides the moon, as it will come through here. But as these personal planets touch this point, we will experience it more on a personal level. So Venus in Libra, relationships focus, is in an opposition with Neptune in Aries. Individually, what do I want? What are my dreams? And as you do this little battle between what's best for what's best for me, it creates tension. It's the backbone of that kite that is needed. The tension is needed in order to get something lifted off of the ground. Now, 0 is a reset energy. So this is a brand new opportunity, a brand new partnership that's possible for you in some area of your life. And that partnership makes you take a second look at this dream that you have for yourself, and maybe doing it just on your own no longer suits you. Now, ideally, would create a relationship, a partnership, an opportunity that takes both people's needs into consideration, and you're able to meet in the middle. And that is what helps your kite rise easily versus it jerking all over in the sky and twisting and twirling and then coming back down and crashing. We need the tension, but the tension also needs to be balanced. It's like that moment in the teeter-totter, if you remember from grade school, where you guys are trying to see if you could balance. Do I need forward a little bit? Does my partner need to scoot back a little bit? What is it going to take for us to find balance? That's the goal. And as you work through that tension and find that sweet spot for the two of you, because everybody is different, these energies are helping. So as Venus is opposing Neptune, she's also part of a grand air trine. So big ideas, big opportunities, big conversations are coming your way between Venus, Pluto, which is slowing down and about to go forward. So Pluto's transformation energy is very powerful on Monday, and they both also speak in harmony with Uranus, now back at 0 degrees. So now we have two planets at 0 degrees, a reset that could be shocking and surprising. The information, the partnerships that are created on this day can be really surprising. And it's about the past, right? We still have Pluto in retrograde as this kite begins. And then we have Uranus in Gemini also in retrograde. So Pluto and Uranus are both outer planets. They have more of an impact on the collective as a whole. So they have been working behind the scenes along with Neptune and Saturn, although Saturn has dipped back into the sign of Pisces. So it's not as close. Its involvement isn't as strong now in this minor triangle that we've been talking about all year, but it's still there influencing, creating structure. And you're also going to notice that Neptune is ticking down its time in Aries, and it looks forward to being back home to finish the work. And we'll see that work continue through February of next year. And it'll be intense. So we'll be talking about that more later. I don't want to derail our conversation. But this is the collective changes and these big ideas, these big conversations that come in. They're what make you want to do the work. They're what inspire you to want to figure out how to balance this tension so that you can take full advantage of whatever this big opportunity is. Now, I find this most impactful for those of you who have planets at 0 degrees, 0 to 2, maybe 28 to 29. Things like yods and kites. I like the orbs to be really tight. And we'll be talking about yods here later too. But right now we're talking about the kite, and we'll have more kite opportunities this week as well. So as we start Monday, there's a pretty big opportunity, and it is still created from some tension. So we're going to be watching this week. The moon is in its home sign. It's with Jupiter. So this is a very big emotional day on Monday. And Jupiter is squaring with Chiron. And the moon is in there as well. So Chiron are emotional wounds that we carry. This can be about confidence. This can be about needing to learn to stand up for yourself. This can be about a personal health issue because Aries rules the self. So it's something very personal to you. And Jupiter is that teacher. Of course, the moon's our feelings, our intuition. So there's something about the care that you're able to give other people and the way that you do it that's creating some kind of a battle. This can be the battle over healthcare, for instance, that we're seeing here in the US, and it's not going to wrap up anytime soon. In fact, the conflict goes through the end of the year. So just keep an eye on this one. But as we go through Monday, we begin to see, out of all the tension, that there is opportunities if we come together. We, the people, are the ones with the power. And as Pluto's about to change direction, the power that was hidden is now become available to us again. So, as usual, just a light, easy Monday as we kick off the week ahead. So let's take a look at Tuesday. All right. As we move to Tuesday, as I mentioned, Pluto is now moving forward. So this kite is still very active. Venus has moved to 1 degree. Pluto, of course, is still at 1 degree. So there's a very strong connection. This can empower women in a legal position, for instance, for good or bad. And they can be always surprising and shocking, the information that's coming up. But remember, a grand air trine, which means all 3 planets that are connected at the same degrees, create an opportunity from information, from communication, from coming together, from creating balance, finding the differences that bring us together, for instance. So there is still something very strong about the influence of this energy of this kite, even as we look at Tuesday. But it's that Pluto energy that I'm most interested in on Tuesday, because as a planet slows down to either start a retrograde or, like Pluto is now in a retrograde, it puts out a lot more energy. And all the Pluto work is underground, right? This is the ruler of the underworld. So there's something being exposed that's been hidden underground. And the information that we get at this time should be pretty big. It can expose a huge secret, for instance, that the people can use in their favor, because Aquarius energy is we the people energy. It's the internet. It's being connected. It's electricity. It's brain waves, right? That's what air energy involves. So wherever you have this, wherever this has been a big review that's very psychological in nature in your chart, it's been going on since about May 4th. That's when Pluto first started its retrograde. And so now the review period, the work that you needed to do, has come to an end, and this is ready to move forward. Now, it can be ready to move forward in your personal life if this is attached to a personal planet or angle, some point of reference in your chart. It's more of an effect as what changes in the collective and its impact on you if you don't have personal planet work going on at the same time. All right, that is Tuesday. So be ready. This is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. And as I mentioned, I think it means power to the people is transforming in some way at this time. So let's just move on forward and take a look at Wednesday. And so on Wednesday, we are, of course, still seeing that kite formation. And we see this T-square that's starting to build and get stronger between Chiron and Jupiter. But now Chiron has dipped back to the 24 degree because it's in retrograde. Jupiter is still moving forward. So this is where this tension starts to get interesting. Jupiter is going to move forward until November 11th, get to about 25 degrees, and then start its retrograde. In the meantime, we'll have Chiron continue to slow down. So once Jupiter comes back to have a conversation with Chiron, we're going to see whatever this conflict is be stirred up again. So like I said, this is a long-term conflict, and it's one that we want to keep an eye on. Jupiter is a gentle planet, so it isn't trying to create harm, and Chiron is more about exposing the wounds that we have. Chiron is also about sacrificing your own needs, your own pain to help other people. And so there is something that Jupiter's trying to show us, to expose in how we can do better helping others and not being so focused on what's in our own way, because it is through helping other people that we actually will heal our own pain. Not that it's a distraction from what we're going through, but helping others helps us heal. Trust me, I do this all the time. So I'm helping, I'm coaching a client, and I hear what I'm saying. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, you should probably take your own advice. So people come into our circle that are having shared experiences for a reason. And if you want to feel better when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling upset, go do something to help someone else, because it takes the focus off of your inner turmoil. It puts out good energy, and then good energy comes back to you. And so that's what Jupiter and Chiron are trying to teach us. We have to take care of those who are in need. So there are several situations out in the world where are several people who are in need, and we need to stop fighting with one another and get these people the help that is required at this time so that they can heal. So there is going to be big conflict, and Jupiter expands on whatever it touches. So if you are not dealing with your own personal wounds, when Jupiter comes through here, you are going to see them very, very clearly, so that you have to. Now, again, this is going to feel more strongly to you if you happen to have planets around the 24, 25 degrees, especially in Aries, because if you're having your Aries Chiron return, that's very tough, difficult work, and you might want to consider booking a session with me if that's the case, so I can help you through it. I've been through it. It's very, very difficult, but it serves a purpose. And whatever that purpose is in your life, it's going to help make you stronger, more independent, and get you out of any relationship where there's codependence as a factor. All right, that is our Wednesday. We'll even see a little bit of a kite as the moon moves through the sign of Leo from that perspective. But I'm not going to get everything too confused because it's really brief. But just know there's something fun that you're meant to do, and you want to spend some time doing it as we go through Wednesday. All right, let's take a look here at Thursday. Now, this is where this T-square starts heating up more. T-squares, 3 planets that are all arguing. That's the best way to describe it. So we're going to see the Sun in Libra, Chiron in Aries. So that same storyline that we saw with Libra energy from Venus's perspective and that Neptune perspective. So we have that same tension, but from different points of view. So it's now not our dreams like Neptune, but it's our pain. And then the sun is shining a light on our relationships and what we are doing in them that may be causing us pain. And then Jupiter at the top of this tension is saying, if you can learn how to care for one another, then this tension can be released. It's so worth doing the work and learning how to meet in the middle instead of continuing to battle with one another. It's not serving any purpose. But this is going to continue for a few days, so you have some time to figure out, like I mentioned earlier, what's that sweet spot between the pain you feel and your ability to be in a healthy relationship. How, when you heal yourself, Chiron, your relationship will heal. When you heal yourself, if you're with a partner that doesn't also heal, then that's when we get even worse tension in relationships. So there's a lot of back and forth. It'll go on for a couple of days from the sun's perspective, shining a light on the relationships that there needs to be work done. And then the sun will move on, but the conversation between Jupiter and Chiron will continue. So change, it's a long-term effort. But again, Jupiter is just continuing to say, care and nurture one another, feed one another. mother and care for others, that's the answer and the way out of all of this tension. So that's Thursday. And as I mentioned, we're going to continue to see this on Friday. So it's just getting more intense. On Friday, it's exact with the Sun in Libra and Chiron and Jupiter. Now they're meeting at 24 degrees, and 2 and 4 add to 6. So there is something very joyful that can come out of all of this tension if you're willing to do the work. And of course, I recommend that you do the work. Otherwise, this just becomes explosive. For those that are unwilling to meet in the middle, then this energy as we get to Friday will be explosive. It will be emotional because of the fact that Jupiter's the one that's taking that tension, and it's the mountain of tension, right? So I always look to things like underwater volcanoes for this energy to explode and release all of the pressure emotionally. Because it's Cancer, we can explode as we're trying to release all this tension. So if you don't want to get to that point where you feel like you have to have an emotional outburst, you've got to learn how to meet in the middle with whatever your conflict is. It's true for the collective, and it's true for us, of course, as individuals. Now, helping us here on Friday and Saturday will be Mercury and Mars. Mercury's how we communicate. Mars is our passion, our drive, and they're speaking together in Scorpio. Now, if you've followed me, you know I say I think of Mercury in Scorpio as a little detective, right? Mercury, the messenger to all the gods. So Mercury spends time here in the sign of Scorpio, which Mars is a ruler of. So he's getting information that he will then take and share with others. But what's important on this weekend to note is whatever information, whatever action, whatever has been buried and is brought to the surface, it's faded because of the fact that both of these are speaking in harmony with that South Node in Virgo, what we need to release, and that North Node in Pisces, showing us where we need to have more faith. So there's some action we need to take, letting something go, getting in the flow, trusting our emotions and our intuition to be our guide, and speaking up. This can be really good energy for people that are whistleblowers, people that are unwilling to keep secrets any longer. Those will come to the surface at this time. And we're going to want to pay close attention to all of the Scorpio energy, because when Mercury comes back through the sign of Scorpio, it is going to be a part of a new moon, Mercury Cazimi retrograde. It's very complex new moon in November. So I would be tuning in and paying close attention, especially around the 23rd of next week, when Mercury passes this area for the first time. The sun will be illuminating things. Mercury's going to be sharing information. So there's, like I said, very interesting, intriguing secrets about to be shared. Some we will not like, more than likely. So that is what we see on Friday. And as I've mentioned, same energy is here on Saturday. We're just seeing that Mars is starting to move forward a little bit, but Mercury is still speaking exactly with those nodes. So we want to, again, pay attention to conversations. Check your email, check your snail mail, and think differently, right? Mercury is in Scorpio. We're supposed to be transforming the way we think, the way we communicate. We are supposed to realize how much power there are in the words that we say. So it's a really powerful time for doing any kind of manifesting as well. And if you have planets, again, around this 15 to 20 degrees of Scorpio, you're going to feel a little bit called, for instance, to do something, to say something, to make a change, to travel somewhere. Short distance is typically the Mercury energy. Maybe you're going to have a march today to speak up against power, for instance. All of those things are faded as we look at the energy on Saturday. We also get a bit of tension from the moon as it is speaking with Saturn in the sign of Pisces from Virgo. So there can be, again, some emotional challenges to authority that come up, some fights for control that will come up on Saturday as well. It's a pretty powerful day as we look at Saturday. And then as we round out the week here on Sunday, now we're seeing again, Mercury and Mars are still working together. Mars slows down a bit. Mercury will catch up and pass the planet, but today it's extra charged. So just remember, your messages will come through maybe stronger than you mean them to. So maybe tone it down a little bit. But wherever you feel called to have a conversation with someone, do it. Because, of course, we're still speaking in harmony with the nodes of fate. The North Node, where we're headed, what we're learning, how we're growing. The South Node reminding us where we've been, what we already know, and what we're supposed to be releasing in this 18-month cycle, which is way too much nitpicking and not enough faith, always focusing too much on the details. You got to let some of that go and just trust the process and what we are all going through right now. And then on Sunday, things also get a little weird because the sun in Libra is having an awkward conversation with Saturn. So these are two people, two leaders that have some kind of arrangement, partnership, agreement, but one of the two people is not following the rules. They're deciding to go their own way. Maybe it has something to do with water and the ocean and the sea. And these two people are creating a conflict that is strange and a bit unexpected. So if you are traveling through water on Sunday the 19th, be very careful and cautious because things are going to get a bit heated and uncontrollable as we look at the energy on Sunday. We still see, of course, Mercury and Mars are still conjunct, right? So that'll carry us through next week as well as they're talking with the nodes and as we get ready for the new moon in Libra. So this is supposed to be helping us change. Maybe it's this conflict that is why we need to speak up and do something different, do something that we're called to do that will be better for all involved. All right, that's this week. Let's take a quick peek at the week ahead. And as I've mentioned, this is where we're going to have the new moon in the sign of Libra. So it will be on Tuesday that the moon will be meeting up with the sun in the sign of Libra here late at 28 degrees. So while they are meeting to create new relationship opportunities, they are going to be creating a yod. So the yod is the planet, which this time happens to be 2. So this new beginning, this new relationship comes about in an unusual, unexpected way. And the planets that you lean into helping you do this is Neptune in Aries, so what is your dream, and Uranus in Gemini, giving you the information you need. So it can be shocking, it can be surprising information, but as long as these two planets are supporting this change, even though it's awkward and uncomfortable, it may end a relationship, but what comes back to you is something much, much better. So business or personal, we have a mission to create balance, to find justice in our relationships. And it's somebody who is willing to speak up that is going to help bring this partnership together. So, of course, we will come back next week. I will do the breakdown by sign so you can take a look at where your new beginning is and where that opportunity is coming from with Neptune and Uranus, both at 0 degrees. And while the moon and sun are at 28 of Libra, this is what I've been saying. As long as it's within 2 degrees, it's a very active yod. So again, those of you who have planets at 28 degrees of Libra, there's something calling your attention. There's work that you need to do in your partnerships and create change so that they can begin again. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. I'll break it all down for you. So you want to make sure you've subscribed, go out to my website and sign up there as well. You can go out there now and take a look at this new moon in Libra and all of the details and the breakdown already available to you. And if you have subscribed, then you'll get notification as soon as I post the article for this upcoming mission that you have that involves the relationships in your life, maybe just one in particular. And as long as you've subscribed, then you'll get notification as soon as I post this powerful new moon in Libra video that you won't want to miss. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to talking with you all next week. Take care.